Hello students, in the series of lectures in the subject VLSI technology, today we are starting oxidation. Now oxidation, what is oxidation? So oxidation of silicon is very important throughout IC fabrication process. Okay. Along with this, the quality of oxides, okay, and the growth of oxide layer should be in controllable and repeatable manner. Okay. Silicon oxidizes basically very easily. It can be oxidized. So first of all, we will discuss what are the uses of that oxide layer. Okay. So there are several uses. Few of them are SiO2 layer acts as a mask against the implants. Okay. To provide surface pacification, SiO2 layer is used. To isolate one device from another, we also use SiO2 layer because as we know SiO2 is dielectric, okay, it works as insulator. To act as component in MOS structure, this we all know. In MOSFET structure, SiO2 layers is used, and to provide electrical isolation of multi-level metallization systems. In systems where multi-level metallization is done, so isolation is also required. Electrical isolation is also required. For that purpose, SiO2 is used. Okay. Now, what is the basic process by which oxidation of silicon is happening? Okay. So, silicon surface has a very high affinity for oxygen. Okay. So, a oxide layer is rapidly formed when silicon is exposed to oxidizing ambient. So, whenever oxidants are there, so silicon will be oxidized, okay, and SiO2 will be formed. So, SiO2, in this lecture, we will mainly discuss thermal oxidation, okay. There are various other oxidation techniques, but thermal oxidation is the most prominent and most important technique that is being used since last very long time. Okay, thermal oxidation uh, of silicon can be done by using two oxidants. One is oxygen, another is water vapors. So, if oxidation of silicon occurs by using oxygen as oxidant, then this is called dry oxidation. And if oxidation of silicon occurs with water vapors, then it is called wet oxidation. Okay, both of the oxidations are thermal oxidations. Okay, so how this oxidation occurs? Okay, silicon reacts with the oxygen molecule and forms silicon dioxide. Silicon reacts with the water vapor and forms silicon dioxide. Okay, so we have a furnace, or you can say we have a chamber in which the sample is placed, and gas is allowed to flow in this chamber, which contain oxidants. Okay, when the gas reaches the surface of silicon, it reacts with silicon in these two forms. Okay, then we have silicon dioxide layer grown. Okay, this is very simple. Okay, one more thing, in the process of thermal oxidation, let's say this is the silicon surface, and from this side we have silicon substrate. Now if the gas is allowed to flow here, so the oxide layer will grow towards the substrate. Inside the substrate, oxide layer will be grown. It will not grow here. Okay, it will grow towards the inside the silicon. Okay, So this is clearly shown in the figure right below. We can see that, let's say, this is your original silicon SiO2 interface, which was this. But as the oxide, silicon dioxide layer is grown, silicon dioxide deepens into this substrate like this. Okay, as you can see. So this is the new SiSiO2 interface that is being formed. So we can say that SiSiO2 surface moves into the silicon in case of thermal oxidation process. Okay. Now, as we have discussed this basic concept, we need to understand the kinetics behind the oxidation process of silicon. Okay. So for that matter, a oxidation model was proposed by Deal and Groves. Okay, that is called Deal and Groves model. So this model basically describes the kinetics of oxidation. There are certain limitations of this model. The temperature should be between 700 to 1300 degrees centigrade. Pressure should be zero point 0.2 to 1 atmospheric pressure, and the thickness of oxide layer that will be grown, it should be between 300 to 20,000 angstrom. Okay. So if these three conditions are matched, then this Deal and Groove model perfectly fits and explain all the practicalities in the oxidation process. Okay. So to understand this model, let us consider this diagram. So in this diagram, we can see that here we have the surface of silicon, and from we are having here we are having silicon substrate, and we are assuming that some silicon dioxide has already been grown here, already present here. Okay, and gas is allowed to flow to this side like this. Okay, so you can visualize this by looking at this diagram. That is your silicon substrate. Silicon dioxide layer is already there. That is your silicon dioxide layer. And above that, gas is allowed to flow. And gas contain what? Gas contains oxidizing species, or you can say oxidants. Okay. So oxygen molecules and water molecules are basically your oxidants. Okay. So this is the basic uh, explanation of this Deal and Groove model. Now, in this model, there are certain concentrations that we need to consider first. So we have basically five concentrations, four concentrations you can see here: Cg, Cs, C0, and Ci. Another one we have C star concentration. So there are five concentrations. So these all are the concentrations of oxidizing species. So what is Cg? Cg is the concentration of oxidizing species in the bulk of gas. Now what is Cs? Cs is the concentration of oxidizing species right next to the gas oxide interface. Right next to the gas oxide interface. This is your gas oxide interface by solid lines. So right next to the gas oxide interface, we have the concentration of oxidizing species as Cs. Now what is C0 and what is Ci? As you can see that we have a silicon dioxide layer that has already been grown here at time t is equal to 0. Okay. So here you can see two boundaries of this layer. These are the two boundaries. So this is your inner boundary, and in the right side of inner boundary we have silicon substrate. Okay, and you have outer boundary. So the concentration of oxidizing species at the outer surface of the oxide is denoted by C0, CO, and the concentration of oxidizing species at the inner surface of this oxide is your Ci. Okay. Now last is your C star. So C star is nothing but the equilibrium concentration in oxide. Equilibrium concentration of a species in oxide. Okay. So these are the five concentrations that are being used in your Deal and Goose model. Three fluxes are also defined here. One flux F1 corresponds to the flow of species in the bulk of gas. When this species comes here at the interface of the gas oxide interface, then from here we have another flux that is your F2. It basically signifies the diffusion of oxidizing species into silicon dioxide. The oxidizing species diffuse through the silicon dioxide and reach this interface that is called Si-SiO2 interface, and here they reacts with each other, and for that matter we have another flux that is F3. Okay, so Deal and Groove model basically calculated these three fluxes, and at equilibrium these three fluxes will be same, and according to that they explain the kinetics behind oxidation process. So how this is done, let us consider this. So let us first consider the flux F1. So as you can see, flux F1 is directly proportional to flux F1, that is directly proportional to the difference in these two concentrations, that are Cg minus Cs. If we remove this proportionality sign, then we have a constant called Hg, denoted by Hg. Okay? So F1 will be equal to Hg Cg minus Cs. Okay. So what is this Hg? Hg is nothing but gas phase mass transfer coefficient. Okay. Now, in terms of concentration, we know that PV equals to NKT, okay, where N is the number of particles or number of molecules in the samples. So if I rewrite this equation as N upon V times KT, then what I will get? I will have this N upon V is nothing but the concentration. So I can get concentration in terms of partial pressure. So concentration in terms of partial pressure will be P upon KT. Okay. Now, if I place Cg here, then I will get Pg here. This is nothing but the partial pressure in the gas phase. Okay. And in case of Cs, I will get Ps upon Kt. So if I place these two values here, then I will get this expression. Okay. Now, after this expression, we invoke another law that is called Henry's law. Okay. So Henry's law basically says, suppose we have a solid, and within this solid there is some species. Let's say X is a species. So equilibrium concentration of this species inside this solid is proportional to the partial pressure of the species in the surrounding gas. Okay. So if we apply this Henry's law in this model, so you can see that what was C star? C star was the equilibrium concentration of the oxidizing species in the oxide. Okay, so this is concentration. So that will be proportional to a partial pressure of the species in the surrounding gas. What is the partial pressure of species in the surrounding gas? That is Pg. So if I remove this sign, proportionality sign, I get a constant that is called H times of Pg. Again, if I apply this law and this law just near to this interface, gas oxide interface, so here the concentration of a species is C naught. So C naught will be equal to H times the partial pressure of a species in the surrounding gas. So here what will be the partial pressure, that is PS. So C naught will be equal to H times of PS. Okay. So here I will get the value of Pg as C star upon H, and I will get the value of PS as C naught upon H. So if I place these two values in the equation of flux F1 that I got here, so here if I replace the values of Pg's and PS by using Henry's law, then Pg is replaced by C star upon H and PS is replaced by C naught upon H. So I get this expression. If I replace these all constants by H, then I will get the flux F1 as H times C star minus C naught. Okay. Now, this is the flux F1. Now let us consider flux F2. So flux F2 is nothing but due to the diffusion of carriers, diffusion of oxidizing species in silicon dioxide. Okay, so here as the carriers are diffusing here, so we can apply a law, a mathematical law, which says that the flux is proportional to the concentration gradient. Okay, so F1 will F2 will be proportional to delta C upon delta X, you can say. Okay, so let's say X is the thickness of this silicon dioxide layer. So what I will have F2 that will be proportional to F2 that will be proportional to your C naught minus Ci upon X, where X is the existing oxide layer thickness. So if I remove this proportionality sign, I get this constant D, that is known as diffusion coefficient. This is flux F2. Now, as carriers are, as the oxidizing species have diffused through this silicon dioxide layer and reached this interface. So here there are a lot of silicon atoms here because this is silicon substrate. Okay. So the flux F3 will basically depends upon the concentration of the oxidizing species Ci, because we have silicon molecules or silicon atoms in very large quantity. Okay. Now the reaction here of silicon with the oxidizing species will depends upon the oxidizing species here. So what are the oxidizing species here? That is denoted by this concentration Ci. So F3 will be proportional to Ci. Okay. So if I remove this sign, proportionality sign, I will get F3 equal to Ks into Ci. So what I will get F3 equal to Ks into Ci. What is Ks? Ks is nothing but reaction rate constant. Okay. Now at equilibrium, these three fluxes that we calculated are equal to each other. So F1 equal to F2 equal to F3. So if I first equate F2 and F3, so what was F2? F2 was D times C naught minus Ci upon X. that will be equal to Ks into Ci. So from here, I want to calculate the value of Ci. Okay, so the Ci terms I will get on one side and will get Ci in terms of C naught, and it will comes out to be this. This is equation number 7. Okay, this is pretty simple. Is it clear? Now, if I replace the value of Ci that I got in equation 7 into equation number 6, that is F3 equal to Ks into Ci. So what I will get? I will get the F3 value as this. Okay. Now, if I equate F1 equal to F3, okay, F1 equal to F3. So this term Ks C naught upon 1 plus Ksx upon D, that will be equal to F1. And what was F1? F1 was H times C star minus C. So here also I will get the value of C naught. So what I will get? I will get the value of C naught here. Okay. So from equation 9 and from equation 7, I got two values, that is Ci and C naught. Okay. So here you can see from equation 7 we know that Ci equal to C naught upon this. So I can replace the value in equation 9 and we'll get the value of Ci as this. So here I am getting value of C naught in equation 9 and I am getting the value of Ci as equation here in terms of equilibrium concentration. Okay, so the target is to get the concentration C naught and Ci in terms of equilibrium concentrations. So here by this process we got this. Now let us consider two cases. So first case is, let's say the diffusion coefficient is 0, tends to 0. Now if this diffusion coefficient tends to 0, what will be the values of C naught and Ci? Okay. So first consider the value of Ci. Now what will happen with the value of Ci if d tends to 0? So if d tends to 0, the denominator terms will be very high. So the Ci value will tends to 0. Okay. Now what will happen with C naught? So C naught is this. So again in numerator this value is also increased. This value is also increased. These two effects will cancel out each other and C naught will be approximately equal to C star. So what happens here is C naught happens to be equal to C star and Ci happens to be equal to 0, and we have a step like this. Okay. So here basically if diffusion constant is very low, so as you can see here, if diffusion constant is very low, or you can say the oxide layer thickness is very high. Okay, oxide is very thick. So in this case, diffusion is controlling the oxidation process. So diffusion basically controls the oxidation process because here at this interface, Ci is 0. So the flux F3, okay, that was due to the reaction at this interface has no effect. So diffusion is basically controlling this. Okay. Now in other case, if d tends to infinity, or you can say x upon d is very small, then what you will have? You will have Ci and C naught equal to C star, and you can have this. Okay. So here you can see that uh, there is a straight line curve here, horizontal line. So this is a reaction controlled oxidation. So when reaction controlled oxidation occurs, if the diffusion constant is very high. So when diffusion control oxidations occur, when diffusion constant coefficient tends to 0. Okay. Now in next lecture we will discuss how to calculate the oxidation rate. Okay, so this was some sort of kinematics that we discussed. So in continuation of this lecture, in the next lecture I will discuss how to calculate the oxidation rate. Okay, means how does oxidation thickness increase with time. Okay, obviously when time is increased, oxidation thickness will also increase. So but mathematically how this is happening. Okay, so in next lecture we will discuss this. Thank you.